Elon Musk warning: your biggest wish is coming true. Don't try to ignore it. Part 1. Elon Musk's message arrived like a jolt straight into your phone. His name, glowing boldly at the top, felt unreal, yet every fiber of your being knew it was real. The subject line alone made your heart pound: your biggest wish is coming true. Don't try to ignore it. You stared at the screen, wondering how the billionaire innovator could possibly know about the deepest desire you had kept hidden even from yourself. The message wasn't just words, it carried a weight, a vibration that seemed to ripple through the air, making every sound around you fade for a moment. My child, the message began, and your breath caught. He wasn't writing casually. This wasn't a PR stunt, a viral video, or some automated notification. Every word felt deliberate, like it had been written for you and only you. I've watched the trajectory of your intentions. Your dreams are not distant anymore. They are near. Dangerously close. The universe is preparing a shift in your life. You must act wisely. You reread it twice, 3 times, unable to believe the words. Was this a hoax? A phishing scam? Yet deep inside, a whisper of knowing told you this was real. The kind of real that shakes your bones and makes your mind alert. Your hands trembled as you scrolled further down. Do not ignore the signs, the message continued. You have been chosen, not by chance, but by destiny itself. Forces you cannot see are already in motion, and they will test your courage, your resolve, and your faith in yourself. Remember, my child, the biggest wishes come with the heaviest responsibility. You will need guidance, clarity, and protection. Trust in what you feel, and stay vigilant. Someone close to you may not have pure intentions. Not everyone in your circle wants to see you rise. The words cut deep, striking a nerve you hadn't known existed. Someone close? That vague warning made your stomach churn. For weeks, you had sensed subtle manipulations, moments that seemed off but too minor to confront. Now, in Elon Musk's own words, it felt like the universe had confirmed your intuition. The message paused, then resumed with a strange warmth, as if Musk himself was speaking across dimensions. Your path will unfold faster than you expect. Doors that once felt locked are about to swing wide open. Opportunities you thought impossible are reaching out to you, and yet, there will be those who wish to pull you back. Be wary. Evaluate carefully. Do not let greed, jealousy, or fear dictate the choices you make. If you stay true, your wish will arrive. If you falter, it may slip through your hands. You leaned back, trying to absorb the gravity of the situation. Your biggest wish, what was it exactly? You had spent countless nights imagining it, praying for it, sketching it in journals, whispering it to the stars in the quiet of your room. And now, the universe was not only acknowledging it but signaling that its arrival was imminent. As if in confirmation, your phone buzzed again, a second message coming immediately after the first. This time, it was a video file. Against your better judgment, yet compelled by a force you couldn't name, you tapped play. The screen flickered to life, showing Elon Musk himself. He looked directly at you, his usual intensity amplified. His eyes seemed to peer into the depths of your soul. "You may feel alone in this moment," he said. "But the forces surrounding you are powerful. Not everyone around you will understand. Some will pretend to support you, but their motives are hidden. You must act with clarity and discernment. Your wish is powerful because it is aligned with your purpose. Many will fear it, and some may even try to stop it. Pay attention to the patterns in your life, the coincidences, the repeated numbers, the sudden encounters. Each is a signal. Each is a piece of the puzzle." He paused, letting his gaze linger on you through the screen. It was unnerving, yet empowering. Do not allow fear to paralyze you. Your wish is within reach, and the next 7 days are critical. Actions you take now will determine the speed of its manifestation. Be courageous. Be decisive. And remember, help can come from unexpected places. You are not alone in this. You have allies you have not yet recognized. The video ended abruptly, leaving you in a silence that felt heavier than the message itself. Your mind raced. Who could these allies be? Who among your friends or family might secretly support your journey without you realizing it? And who, if anyone, was actively trying to hold you back? You remembered the subtle unease you felt with a relative, someone you had trusted without question. Was it them? Could they be the one Musk was warning you about? You shivered at the thought, knowing instinctively that vigilance was no longer optional. The next hours passed in a haze. Every notification, every call, every knock at the door felt like a coded message. You began to see patterns you hadn't noticed before. A neighbor who always smiled seemed overly interested in your movements. A colleague who praised your ideas at work suddenly had subtle digs hidden in their compliments. Your intuition screamed warnings, and now, with Elon Musk's message as confirmation, you knew you had to act. By evening, you felt the first real sense of urgency. The wish you had kept secret all these years wasn't just coming, it was rushing toward you. And yet, the closer it came, the clearer the obstacles became. This was no longer a simple dream. It was a test. The universe, or perhaps fate itself, was demanding that you rise to the occasion. A gentle voice echoed in your mind, almost like a whisper from the beyond, "Be vigilant. Protect your energy. Trust your instincts." You closed your eyes and let it settle. Somewhere deep inside, a calm determination began to form. You would navigate this, no matter the cost. And then, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, your phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Elon Musk. It was a text from someone unexpected. "We need to talk. I can't explain over text. It's about your wish." Your heart leapt. Finally, someone who might truly understand. Someone who could guide you through this labyrinth of destiny. You replied immediately, setting a time and place. The game had begun. The clock was ticking. And deep inside, you knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The next morning, you awoke with a strange clarity. Every decision, every encounter, every interaction felt charged with significance. You weren't just living your life anymore, you were moving towards something monumental, something that would shake the foundations of everything you thought you knew. Your wish was no longer a dream. It was an approaching reality. You made a list of everything that could help you: contacts, resources, reminders, and moments of guidance you had previously dismissed. You were creating a map for the next steps, and every item on that list now carried weight. With each action, you felt a subtle energy shift, as if the universe was quietly acknowledging your readiness. By the afternoon, you felt it, a faint hum, a vibration in the air, a sense that something beyond comprehension was near. Every instinct screamed that this was it. The wish was not coming slowly, it was barreling forward. And you had to be prepared, alert, and unwavering. The relative Musk had warned you about appeared in your mind again. You couldn't ignore them any longer. Subtle signs, half-truths, and manipulations now made sense. The mask had slipped, and you could see clearly who had intentions that weren't aligned with your growth. It was time to set boundaries, to protect what was yours, and to act decisively. The evening arrived with a weight that pressed down on your chest. The city lights flickered as if in sync with your heartbeat. You knew the next days would be critical. Every choice mattered. Every movement carried significance. The universe was aligning, and your wish was drawing closer with every passing second. And somewhere, deep in the silence of your room, you whispered to yourself, "I am ready. I am alert. I will not falter." The day after Elon Musk's message, your world felt different. Even the familiar sights and sounds seemed charged with significance, as if reality itself had shifted slightly on its axis. The air smelled sharper, heavier, and somehow alive, carrying a quiet urgency you couldn't ignore. Every step you took felt like a decision with weighty consequences. You could no longer move casually through life. Each interaction, each thought, each glance seemed critical, like part of a larger puzzle being revealed. Your phone buzzed again, another message, this time from an unknown number. The text was simple: meet at the bridge at midnight. Alone. Do not bring anyone. The word sent shivers down your spine. Who could it be? Someone who knew about the wish? Or someone trying to manipulate you further? You stared at the message, your instinct screaming caution, yet a part of you felt compelled. Every fiber of your being urged you not to ignore it. Elon Musk's warning reverberated in your mind: the universe is preparing a shift. Be vigilant. By evening, you prepared meticulously. You double-checked the locks, ensured your surroundings were secure, and carried only what was necessary. The night was darker than usual, thick clouds masking the moon and stars, creating an almost cinematic stage for what was about to unfold. You kept replaying Musk's words: "Your path will unfold faster than you expect. Doors that once felt locked are about to swing wide open." Midnight arrived. You approached the bridge cautiously. The streetlights flickered intermittently, casting elongated shadows that danced along the concrete. You were alone, yet every sound made you hyper-aware: the distant bark of a dog, the wind whispering through the trees, the occasional hum of a passing car. Then, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was not threatening at first glance, but there was an intensity in their eyes that immediately demanded your attention. They spoke softly, almost in a conspiratorial tone. "You're ready. I can feel it. The universe has chosen you, just like he said." Your heart raced. Who are you? How do you know?" They smiled faintly. "It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that I am here to guide you. Your wish, your deepest desire, it's coming, but there are obstacles you cannot see yet. Someone close to you is not who they appear to be. You need protection, awareness, and clarity." You nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. "I've already sensed it. Someone has been watching me, manipulating me. I just didn't know how to deal with it." "They will reveal themselves soon," the figure said. "And when they do, you must be ready to act decisively. Hesitation is the enemy now. Your wish is too important to allow interference. Remember, not everyone who smiles at you is your ally. But not everyone who hides is your enemy either. Watch, observe, and listen." The words hit harder than you expected. The idea that even those you trusted could be threats was terrifying, yet empowering. Empowering because now you were aware. Now you could act. The figure handed you a small notebook. "Write everything down. Patterns, encounters, strange coincidences. Every detail matters. Your wish is powerful, and it will attract attention, both positive and negative. This notebook will serve as a map through the chaos that is about to come." You held it tightly, feeling its weight both literal and symbolic. This was no ordinary notebook. It felt like a tool, a shield, a guide, a repository for knowledge that would help you navigate a life-altering path. As you walked home under the dim streetlights, your mind raced. Every interaction from the past week played like a montage in your head. The subtle digs, the smiles that seemed too sharp, the sudden calls and messages from people you thought you could trust. Now they all made sense. Elon Musk's warning wasn't just about the wish, it was about survival, about discernment, about recognizing who was on your side and who was trying to derail you. By morning, the first real signs of change became evident. Opportunities began presenting themselves unexpectedly. Calls you had waited weeks for arrived at the perfect moment. Emails that seemed to have been lost in cyberspace were suddenly at the top of your inbox. Doors you thought were closed opened effortlessly, and yet, with every new opportunity came a subtle sense of scrutiny. Someone was watching, testing, observing. The relative Musk had warned about surfaced indirectly. You noticed small manipulations, seemingly coincidental miscommunications, and moments of unexplained interference in your daily life. Every time you confronted yourself with doubt, you returned to Musk's words: trust in what you feel, and stay vigilant. By the third day, the energy around you was tangible. Even your dreams carried messages, cryptic, yet oddly precise. You dreamt of crossing bridges, of doors opening and closing, of shadowy figures whispering warnings. Each morning, you awoke with fragments of insights, like puzzle pieces that were slowly forming a larger picture. Then came the first true test. A person you had considered a friend approached with an offer, an opportunity that seemed too perfect to pass up. Your heart leapt, but your instincts screamed caution. Something about their tone, the timing, and their insistence felt off. You remembered the words from Musk's video: not everyone around you will understand. Some will pretend to support you, but their motives are hidden. You took a deep breath and asked for time. They were persistent, even aggressive, pushing you to make a decision quickly. Every cell in your body told you to slow down, to observe more, to wait. Finally, you did what felt almost impossible: you said no. And immediately, their demeanor changed. A subtle smile, almost a sneer, flickered for the briefest second before they masked it with politeness. The universe had just tested your resolve. You passed, but only barely. You felt a surge of both relief and adrenaline. Your wish was still approaching, still within reach, but the trials were beginning in earnest. You realized that your journey wasn't just about receiving, it was about discerning, protecting, and moving with awareness. By the fifth day, everything intensified. The figure from the bridge reappeared, delivering a warning that made your blood run cold: they know more than you realize. Their influence spreads further than you can see. The next few days will demand courage you didn't know you had. But fear not, guidance will always come when you remain alert and steadfast. You spent hours analyzing every detail of your surroundings. Conversations, body language, and even the energy of rooms seemed charged with significance. You realized that vigilance wasn't just mental, it was spiritual, emotional, and instinctive. Every choice, every glance, every interaction mattered now more than ever. Then, just as the sun dipped on the sixth day, the moment arrived. A letter appeared in your mailbox, unmarked and unsigned. Inside, a simple note read, "Your biggest wish is closer than you think. Be ready tonight. Follow the signs, and trust yourself." Your pulse quickened. This was it, the culmination of everything Musk had warned you about, every subtle sign, every strange encounter, every test of vigilance. The wish you had imagined for so long was almost within your grasp, and yet, the obstacles had sharpened like blades. You were aware now that every step forward had to be deliberate, every decision precise. Night fell, and the world around you seemed to hold its breath. Shadows stretched longer than usual, and the wind carried a strange, electric hum. You knew that tonight, everything would shift. The forces that had been aligning, the warnings, the guidance, and the tests were all converging. The universe was setting the stage for your wish to arrive, but only if you were ready to claim it. You opened the notebook given by the mysterious figure and began writing, detailing every step, every encounter, every moment of intuition. It felt like laying down a blueprint for destiny itself. With each word, you felt more prepared, more focused, and more aligned with the energy that surrounded you. As the clock ticked toward midnight, a sense of both anticipation and serenity settled over you. The wish was not coming slowly, it was arriving with force. And as Elon Musk had warned, ignoring it was no longer an option. Every sense was alert. Every instinct was sharp. Every step was guided by purpose. And deep inside, a voice whispered, not fear, not doubt, but certainty, this is your moment. Be ready. Claim it. Your biggest wish is here. Midnight arrived with a silence that was almost unbearable. Every creak of the floor, every whisper of wind through the trees outside, felt magnified, like the world itself was holding its breath. You moved cautiously, carrying only the notebook and your instincts, both of which had become your lifelines over the past week. The streets were empty, shadows stretching and merging like liquid darkness, yet the strange hum of anticipation never left your ears. You reached the location indicated by the last note, a small, secluded park at the edge of the city. The lamps flickered intermittently, casting uneven pools of light, and the air carried a strange electric charge. You paused, letting your senses adjust, every muscle taut, ready for whatever came next. Then you saw them, a figure standing at the far end of the path. You couldn't see their face clearly, but the energy radiating from them made your heart tighten. They stepped forward, and as the light fell across their features, recognition struck you. It was someone you had trusted, someone who had always seemed supportive. But now, their intentions were shrouded, uncertain, and somehow dangerous. "I've been expecting you," they said, voice calm but carrying an edge that made you uneasy. "You've come far, but do you really know what you're stepping into?" "I know enough," you replied, steadying your voice despite the tension twisting in your stomach. "I've seen the patterns, the signs. I've been warned. I know not everyone around me is honest." They smiled faintly, almost approvingly. "Good. Awareness is your first weapon. But awareness alone isn't enough. Courage, discernment, and action, that is what will guide you now. Your wish isn't just approaching. It's testing you, evaluating if you are ready to receive it. And those who seek to hinder you, they are part of the test, too." You nodded, realizing the truth in their words. Every obstacle, every subtle manipulation over the past week, had been a measure of your readiness. And now, facing this person directly, you understood that your journey was as much about protecting your energy and asserting boundaries as it was about receiving your wish. The figure handed you a small envelope. Inside was a single key, heavy in your palm, with no explanation. "This will open what you've been waiting for," they said. "But be warned, its power will challenge you. Only a focused mind and a steady heart can wield it without losing yourself. Everything you've learned, every insight you've gained, every warning you've followed, this is the moment it all matters." You took the key, feeling the weight of responsibility settle over your shoulders. This wasn't just about desire anymore. It was about readiness, discipline, and integrity. A part of you trembled, but the stronger part, the part that had been shaped by the tests, the messages, and the subtle warnings, stood firm. As you approached the location indicated by the key, a small, unmarked door appeared in a forgotten alleyway. The kind of door one might easily overlook. You inserted the key, and the lock clicked with a sound that echoed deeper than metal. Pushing it open revealed a space unlike anything you had imagined. Light flooded in, not harsh or blinding, but warm, inviting, and charged with possibility. Inside, the air felt alive, vibrating with energy. Every step you took seemed to amplify the hum, a resonance that matched the rhythm of your heartbeat. And then you saw it, the manifestation of your wish. It wasn't in physical form, at least not entirely, but in a presence, a sensation, a reality that unfolded before you. It was everything you had imagined, everything you had desired, and yet it carried a weight, a clarity, and a depth you had never anticipated. A voice spoke in your mind, not through words, but through understanding. You have reached the threshold. Your wish is here. But before it can be yours fully, you must acknowledge the trials, recognize the forces around you, and choose your response with wisdom. You realize that the trials weren't obstacles, they were reflections, mirrors showing you the truth of your intentions, the strength of your resolve, and the clarity of your focus. Every person who had crossed your path, every test, every subtle manipulation, they had all been part of a larger design, guiding you, preparing you, and evaluating your readiness. For a moment, doubt crept in. Could you handle this? Could you embrace a reality so powerful, so immediate, that it might change everything? The weight of responsibility pressed against your chest, making your breath shallow. And then you remembered Elon Musk's words, "Do not allow fear to paralyze you. Your wish is within reach." You took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the space align with your own. Step by step, you moved closer to the presence of your wish, allowing every ounce of doubt to fall away. You understood that claiming this reality required more than desire, it required awareness, courage, and intention. And then it happened. A wave of clarity washed over you, sudden and undeniable. The obstacles, the warnings, the tests, they all resolved into a single pattern. You could see the subtle manipulations of others, the hidden support of unexpected allies, and the threads of fate aligning perfectly to bring your wish into form. The sensation was electrifying, like a storm of possibility contained within your chest, and for the first time, you realized the enormity of what you were stepping into. In that moment, the figure from the bridge appeared beside you again. They didn't speak, only nodded, their presence affirming that you had passed the final measure. Every test, every trial, every subtle challenge had prepared you for this instant. You were ready. As the hum of energy in the room intensified, the manifestation of your wish began to take a form you could perceive. It wasn't just a dream anymore, it was tangible, visible, and real. And yet, with its arrival came a responsibility that stretched beyond personal desire. You could feel it, a force demanding not just acceptance, but stewardship. This wish was not a simple fulfillment, it was a call to action, a challenge to your capacity to wield it wisely. For hours, you stood there, absorbing the full magnitude of what had arrived. The energy pulsed around you, intertwining with your own, shaping and refining it. You understood that every choice from this moment forward would echo far beyond your own life. The realization was humbling, yet empowering. You had not simply received a wish, you had entered into a covenant with the universe itself. As dawn approached, the space around you began to fade gently, leaving behind a clarity and confidence you had never known. Your wish had come, yes, but it had come fully aligned with your readiness, your discernment, and your courage. You were no longer just a dreamer, you were a participant in the unfolding of your own destiny. And as the first light of morning touched your face, a final message appeared on your phone, from the unknown figure who had guided you, "You have arrived. Your wish is here. Use it wisely, with courage and clarity, and the universe will continue to reveal its wonders." A sense of peace settled over you, mingled with anticipation. Your journey was far from over. There would always be challenges, tests, and choices, but for the first time, you felt aligned, empowered, and ready. The wish had come, but it was only the beginning of what you were truly capable of. Hours later, as you reflected on everything that had happened, your phone buzzed one last time. A notification read, "If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. You smiled, realizing that even in the small gestures, the universe had ways of teaching gratitude, acknowledgement, and the value of alignment. You put the phone down, feeling a calm certainty you had never known. The trials, the warnings, the guidance, they had all been preparing you for this moment. And now, fully aware and fully empowered, you stepped into the world with the knowledge that your biggest wish had not only come true, but that you were ready to embrace everything that followed. The morning after the manifestation of your wish felt surreal. The air seemed different, charged with possibility, as if the world itself was acknowledging your arrival into a new reality. Everything you touched, every step you took, resonated with an energy that was almost tangible. But the presence of your wish also carried an unmistakable gravity, a reminder that power, even when given, demands responsibility. You walked through familiar streets, yet nothing felt familiar anymore. The ordinary had transformed into the extraordinary. People moved around you in their usual routines, unaware of the invisible threads that now connected you to a larger reality. You felt detached yet hyper-aware, tuned into patterns that others overlooked. The universe had shifted, and so had you. Your first challenge emerged unexpectedly. A message appeared on your phone from someone you considered a mentor, someone whose guidance you had relied on for years. The message was polite but contained an undercurrent of urgency that made your pulse spike. "We need to discuss your recent decisions. Some influences may be misleading you." Instinctively, you felt the warning bells ring. The person on the other end was clearly not malicious, yet their timing and tone carried an unspoken tension. You realized that with your wish now fully present in your life, subtle manipulations wouldn't come from obvious sources, they would emerge from those you trusted most. You replied cautiously, agreeing to meet, but your mind was already analyzing potential outcomes. Every encounter now required strategic awareness. The manifestation of your wish had opened doors, yes, but it had also exposed vulnerabilities. Those who wished to benefit from or interfere with your newfound power would not act openly. They would test, probe, and manipulate, often cloaked in support. As you approached the meeting place, a quiet clarity settled over you. Elon Musk's words echoed in your mind: "Trust in what you feel, and stay vigilant." You understood now that vigilance wasn't paranoia, it was preparation. Your wish had arrived, but your journey wasn't just about receiving, it was about navigating the forces, both seen and unseen, that would now intersect with your path. The mentor arrived, smiling warmly, yet you detected subtle shifts in energy, slight inconsistencies in behavior that spoke volumes. Their questions were loaded with insinuations, their advice layered with subtle pressure. But this time, you were ready. You listened carefully, observing tone, body language, and intention. You responded with clarity and composure, declining suggestions that didn't align with your judgment, asserting boundaries that previously might have seemed confrontational. Walking away, a profound realization struck you. Your biggest wish had not only changed your reality, it had refined your perception. You could see truth more clearly, feel intention more accurately, and act decisively where you once hesitated. And yet, even with this clarity, you understood that not every challenge would announce itself. Some would arrive subtly, cloaked in familiar faces, warm smiles, and seemingly innocent advice. That evening, as you returned home, another message appeared on your phone. It was from the mysterious figure who had guided you from the bridge. No words, just a location, a quiet warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Something about the message felt urgent, insistent. You knew this wasn't a casual meeting. This was another step in a path that had become increasingly complex, layered, and intense. Arriving at the warehouse, you noticed shadows shifting unnaturally, almost as if the building itself were alive. The door creaked open, revealing a space filled with light and symbols that resonated with your wish. The figure from before stepped forward, their presence commanding attention without a single word. "You are evolving," they said softly. "Your wish has arrived, but its true power is not yet realized. Forces both benevolent and malicious are testing you. Your decisions now will determine the trajectory of everything you desire." You nodded, understanding. Every obstacle, every manipulation, every subtle influence, it was all part of a larger equation. Your ability to discern, act, and maintain focus was as important as the wish itself. They handed you a small device, sleek and metallic, humming with latent energy. "This will help you navigate," they explained. "It will reveal hidden intentions, detect subtle manipulations, and guide your decisions when choices are unclear. But remember, it is a tool, not a solution. You must remain alert, present, and decisive." Taking the device, you felt a surge of empowerment. It was tangible, real, and yet it carried a responsibility as heavy as the wish itself. You understood that your journey had entered a new phase, a phase where awareness, courage, and discernment would define not just the success of your wish, but the integrity with which you wielded its power. The following days were intense. Every interaction, every opportunity, and every challenge seemed magnified. You noticed subtle patterns, conversations that repeated themes, strangers whose words carried hidden warnings, and unexpected allies who appeared just when you needed guidance. You realized that the universe was orchestrating everything meticulously, shaping a path that required your full attention. One afternoon, you received a message that made your heart skip. "They are closer than you think." Trust no one blindly. It wasn't signed, but the weight of it was unmistakable. Someone had been observing you, waiting for a moment of vulnerability, ready to interfere. You reviewed your recent encounters, your decisions, and your surroundings. Slowly, patterns emerged, subtle manipulations, hidden agendas, and the faint traces of interference by those who had seemed supportive. Rather than panic, you felt a surge of determination. This was exactly what Elon Musk had warned about. Not everyone around you will understand. Some will pretend to support you, but their motives are hidden. You realized that the manifestation of your wish wasn't the end, it was a magnifier, amplifying both opportunity and risk. Every move now required precision, clarity, and discernment. As night fell, you prepared for the next step. The warehouse device glowed softly, indicating a direction, a choice to be made. You followed the guidance, moving with caution, awareness, and confidence. Every instinct, every observation, every ounce of vigilance was in play. Finally, you arrived at a secluded chamber, illuminated by a soft, ethereal light. The energy here was intense, almost tangible, vibrating in sync with your heartbeat. You knew this was a pivotal moment, the convergence of every test, every warning, every opportunity since the wish had begun manifesting. A voice spoke, not aloud, but directly into your consciousness. You have arrived. Your power is here. Your discernment will guide its use. Choose wisely, for every decision echoes beyond this moment. You felt the weight of responsibility, yet also the exhilaration of capability. You realized fully that the wish was not a simple fulfillment of desire, it was a catalyst, a force that demanded integrity, vigilance, and courage. And as you took a step forward into the energy, you understood that your journey was no longer about waiting or hoping, it was about creating, guiding, and mastering the unfolding reality before you. The night stretched on, filled with reflection, insight, and quiet determination. You recognized allies, spotted hidden intentions, and fortified yourself against potential interference. And in the stillness of that chamber, you made a silent vow, to wield your wish with clarity, to navigate challenges with courage, and to honor the forces that had brought you to this extraordinary moment. For the first time since the arrival of the wish, you felt fully aligned, aware, and ready. You were no longer just a participant in your destiny, you were its conscious architect. And as you stepped out into the night, the world felt infinitely vast, infinitely possible, and infinitely yours.